Do you get some packages from Amazon today? Like I did. For those packages to make it to our apartments and our houses and our dorm rooms, like it takes people. And those are people in fulfillment centers and they're people who are driving delivery vehicles. But like, what's that really like? And is it a good job or is it a bad job? And compared to what? Amazon employs hundreds of thousands of workers in the United States, and what they do has real consequences, not just for the workers at Amazon, but for defining the terms of employment and working conditions for workers across the delivery and fulfillment sector, and honestly, more broadly, in the economy. They are of a scale and of a public influence that really matters for setting standards and norms around labor practices. And what we found in this report is that the kind of strategies that many Amazon delivery drivers are exposed to in terms of fissured work like gig workers and franchise work for DSP drivers, has real consequences for the quality of jobs that these workers can access, and so for the well-being of themselves and their families. Take Amazon delivery drivers. They're earning a little less on average an hour than UPS drivers for sure. But what's really different about these jobs is that UPS drivers can get ahead in the job. The longer UPS drivers stay on the job, the more they earn. There are real, what social scientists call wage returns to tenure. If you stay in this job, you get rewarded. You get better at the job, you get more experience, and your employer recognizes that. They pay you more and more. For UPS drivers who have been on the job for like 10 years, they can earn as much as $40 an hour. That's a lot. How about for Amazon workers? Well, there's two problems with the comparison. One is that basically, there are no Amazon drivers who have been on the job that long. In fact, the very large majority of Amazon drivers are on the job for about a year. They churn through these positions. And part of why that is because there are none of those wage returns for Amazon drivers. The longer you stay, the same you earn. Whereas at UPS, the longer you stay, the more you earn. That's a real fundamental difference about these jobs. It's a different model. At UPS, it's a real career. You can keep doing this thing and you can get ahead. You can earn a family-sustaining wage. That model just doesn't exist for Amazon drivers. Instead, they're what the economist David Weil, co-author with me on this report, has termed fissured workers. In this situation, these are workers who actually are gig workers, in the case of what is called Amazon Flex, or they work for franchise companies, DSPs, delivery service partners, that are actually their employer and that operate under contract with Amazon. That franchising, it's kind of like McDonald's. McDonald's doesn't own very many fast food restaurants in the United States. Instead, they franchise to independent operators. Sort of independent. The way things work with franchising is that actually the big company, whether it's McDonald's or in this case Amazon, tightly regulates absolutely everything that company does to ensure that things get done exactly as they want. But they don't employ the workers because they don't want to be responsible for the workers. They want to shift the risks of employment, of legal liability, of managing those workforces from themselves to these subsidiary companies. And that explains the puzzle of what's going on with Amazon delivery drivers. They don't even work for Amazon. And unlike UPS drivers, they certainly aren't in a strong, long-standing, and powerful union. In the contrast between these workers, in the bright line between their hourly wages and the ability to earn higher wages over time, in the bright line between the benefits that these workers get and the schedules they experience, we see the stakes of that employment relationship. Workers who have the strength of a union and the employment protections that come from regular work really fare differently when doing exactly the same job. In a way, when we look at the economy today, it's easy to take the idea that like everyone's going to end up a gig worker or no one can have a wage that reaches $40 an hour or a really good health insurance plan. It's easy to say like, well, that's just how things are today. But these comparisons show it doesn't have to be that way, that these are choices that we are making in policy and really in company practice to take corporate profits and corporate gains at the expense of workers' profits and workers' gains. It's a risk. It's a shift of risk from individual work, from firms who might carry a higher payload and invest in workers for the long term to a short-term perspective that really disadvantages workers in many ways. At UPS, the employment relationships and the benefits that workers derive from it are really built on a century-long foundation of collective bargaining and union rights. And when Amazon came along, they very consciously didn't do that. Amazon has set out to do their best to discourage workers from forming unions and to capitalize on the weak regulatory environment we have around fissured work. And so there's a role for government here to really think carefully about how to regulate these kinds of fissured work practices and to act to make sure that workers are adequately supported and have access to the kinds of jobs that will help them to get ahead and build a strong middle class. But it also matters for workers and for those that represent workers to take note that when a company like Amazon grows and grows in delivery volume, becoming one of the largest shippers in the country, that has consequences for the workers at firms like UPS that do have a strong union, but who may see that position eroded by the entry of a firm like Amazon.